Hello and welcome back to Mexico News Network's Breaking News, broadcasting from El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Charisma. Now keep informed 24/7 by logging onto our website on www.mexiconewsnetwork.com, and also don't forget to follow us on social networks on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. You'll find us as Mexico News Network. Now let's continue with more information. On Wednesday, June 3rd, it was announced that 3 reporters formerly employed by Mexican media giant MVS became the recipients of one of this year's awards for Initiative in Investigative Journalism in the Americas for their work carried out until March 2015. The jury declared the result of the journalists' initiative, herein revealed in the striking case of a conflict of interest involving Mexico's head of state, Enrique Peña Nieto. The story was widely diffused across the hemisphere, sparking an invaluable internal and regional debate on transparency in the handling of the ruling class's private affairs and their impact on their public role. The winners are Rafael Cabrera, Irving Huerta, and Sebastián Barragán, all headed by Daniel Lizárraga. All were formerly part of a crack team headed by seasoned Mexican journalist Carmen Aristegui, who, until mid-March, conducted her very own radio show on the former television network MVS. Now, officially, Aristegui and her team were let go due to a conflict between her and her employer, which accused her team of endorsing the whistleblower website Mexico Leaks, using the network's logo without authorization. Now, this version is the source of some controversy, as certain accounts have in fact led to speculation on government authorities seeking the team's termination in light of their investigation into a $1 million home apparently commissioned by the First Lady, Angelica Rivera, in the year 2014. The report, which was aired on MVS, stirred an intense nationwide debate regarding a perceived conflict of interest, as the contractor that built the house also held several high-profile public infrastructure projects. Currently, Aristegui is still proceeding with legal action against her former employer. Now, the award is jointly granted by Latin American journalist nonprofit Conectas and the Washington-based International Center for Journalists on an annual basis. The entire team won first place in the impact category, which bases its criteria on stories which have managed to become relevant in local or regional sphere due to its impact on public opinion, or for also having sparked some form of action on behalf of the state or even the citizenry. Excellent news for the journalists. Now, moving along to more information, Mexico City native Naum last year became the very first artist to be recognized as a young leader in space exploration by the Paris-based International Astronautical Federation. As a musician, he has presented his compositions internationally and is the current founder of the Orchestra Elastique, as well as the Goldsmiths Electronic Orchestra. Naum uses hypnosis, sounds, video, and performance to transmit his art to every spectator in hopes of exploring the unknown. Now, the main element of his work is his imagination, focusing on the spiritual and on ideas that have led us to believe that the impossible is quite possible. In a world where we are confronted by so many walls, we need to think of magical ways and really to work on those ideas. At the end of the day, it's an exercise in creativity, Naum told Brooklyn-based arts blogazine Hyperallergic. Our technological and scientific achievements have been motivated by these magical ideas. We have to think about them as tools to conjure possibilities that are apparently completely nuts or impossible. Naum is 35 years old and has completed studies at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, the Monterrey Institute of Technology and Higher Education, and also holds a master's degree in arts from Goldsmiths University of London, thanks to a scholarship granted to him by the British Council and BBVA Bancomer. Naum's work manages to mix nature and science with fantasy and magic, something that he has been widely acclaimed for. His latest work in London, Lunatic, A Hypnosis Voyage, consists of performances where, through hypnosis and other elements, Naum takes passengers to experience a trip to the moon, using only the human capacity to imagine and generate its own ideas. Naum also holds a certification from the University of Birkbeck in hypnosis. He assures the goal of his creations is to help people to conquer their understandings of themselves and to answer the question, where do we come from? Thus, as people relate with cosmos, they may be able to appreciate what is on Earth and feel more connected to everything and to everyone. Now, to achieve this, Naum uses 3 elements: space, magic, as well as music. Moving along to more information, his elegant appearance, his sense of humor, and his catchy phrases made of him the ladies' man of Mexico. But aside from his roughish image, there was another man hiding behind the shadow of Mauricio Garcés. Mexican actress Silvia Pinal recalled during an interview in December 2011 that she remembers Mauricio as a very charming man. Indeed, Mauricio Ferez Yazbek was a man who was known for catching people's attention. Even though he was rather shy, his pleasant attitude opened great doors to the entertainment business to him. Ever since the moment his uncle Tufik Yazbek introduced him to the movies business, the camera seemed to fall in love with Mauricio, who, as a marketing strategy, changed his last name to Garcés. There was a slightly superstitious motive behind this decision, as he believed that the letter G would propel him to the same levels of stardom as his idols Gary Cooper and Clark Gable. It seems to have worked too, and very well. Even though he was already well known for his acting, his most remarkable character was the silver fox type Casanova named Mauricio Galán, who used to waste his time trying to win over the ladies. He used to say his mission in life was to keep the ladies all happy. Mauricio quickly earned fame as the Don Juan of all sorts. His roughish phrases, "It must be terrible to have me and then lose me," made him the hero of men and a delight for audiences in general. Even though his movies, he was always surrounded by beautiful women, the real-life Garcés was a lonely man who had just one lady in his mind and in his life, his mother. The Mexican actress Norma Lazareno said that she met her only once when Mauricio and she were filming a movie. He was just lovely with her. Before she arrived to the set, Mauricio told her the scene had to be very well because his mom was going to see him. After the death of his father, Mauricio bought a big house in Mexico City for his mother and moved right in there with her. He never got married, even though he used to say that he loved the love of his life, who was the only one, Silvia Pinal. He never held any public relations, which led to some people speculating about him being gay. As a matter of fact, he was the first actor to play a gay character in René Cardona Jr.'s movie Modisto de Señoras. The money is to play, and what is left over is for eating, Mauricio told Enrique Rocha on a television interview. Unfortunately, his weakness for gambling led him to losing almost every single cent of his fortune. By the end of his death in 1989, he had absolutely nothing, and even some people said that close friends of his had to pay for his own memorial. In spite of all that, however, Garcés is still remembered very well and honored as an emblematic character of Mexican pop culture. In more information, for some people, Kingo Nonaka is something of a real-life Forrest Gump. One day he was an ordinary peasant, and the next he became a fireman, a cop, a photographer, and even a captain of the 1st Cavalry of the North Division Army, the regiment of the famous Mexican Revolutionary General Pancho Villa. Even though he is not known to have held a lineage, Nonaka has been described by some as the samurai of the Mexican Revolution. Driven by poverty, Nonaka decided to leave his town on the Japanese island of Kyushu at the age of 17. He originally wanted to go to the United States, however, he stayed in Mexico instead. His destiny changed the very night of March 6th of 1911, when revolutionary leader Francisco I. Madero attacked the town of Casas Grandes in the state of Chihuahua. After studying nursing in Ciudad Juárez, Kingo was visiting Casas Grandes when Madero arrived. Due to his remarkable skills, he was charged with the healing and the wounded hand of the revolutionary leader. This short encounter changed him forever, and a few days later, he decided to join Madero's forces. From 1913 to 1916, he battled in Villa's Health Battalion. During these days, he traveled all over the north of Mexico, fighting side by side with the Centaur of the North, as Villa was known. The incredible experiences he collected were documented by his own son, Genaro Nonaka, in his book, Kingo Nonaka, Revolutionary Adventures. Now, after the Mexican Revolution ended, he returned to Ciudad Juárez and worked as a nurse at a hospital. Then eventually ended up marrying and moving to the state of Baja California. His great curiosity took him to explore photography, and he eventually became the founder of the Tijuana Police Department Identification Office. Now, with his camera, he managed to capture diverse aspects of society back in those days. Due to World War II, Nonaka and other Japanese residents were moved to Mexico City in 1942. Living in the state capital, he teamed up with Ignacio Chavez and a group of citizens, and together they created the National Institute of Cardiology. In 1977, the government of Gustavo Díaz Ordaz recognized him as a veteran of the Mexican Revolution and granted him the Award of Revolutionary Merit. After a long life full of adventure and incredible stories, Kingo Nonaka died in Mexico City on October 8, 1977, at the age of 88. An amazing story of endurance, strength, and power. Thank you for joining us. I am Elisa Carballo, and sadly, this was all for today. Remember, we are broadcasting in the beautiful El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Carisma in the heart of Riviera Maya. Now, keep informed 24/7 and log on to our website for further information on Mexico and the world on www.mexiconewsnetwork.com. And also, don't forget to follow us on social networks on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Google+. You'll find us as Mexico News Network. Thank you for staying with us, and we'll see you next time.